It is the moment you've all been waiting for. You guys get to roast my reef tank. This is your chance to be as mean as you want. You are not going to hurt my feelings. I promise you, no matter how many mean things you have to say about it, I have about 100 times more terrible things to say about it. If you're someone who has worked with a lot of different systems, a lot of different tanks, displays, you probably have noticed that there's always that one tank that for whatever reason is just a constant problem. It is just one thing after another, to the point where it's like, I am so over it. Like, I just, this, this tank has the ability to be an absolutely beautiful, absolutely gorgeous tank. It has so much potential, but right now it is just a hot mess with 5 million problems. I could go on for hours about how many problems this tank has. But by the time you see this video, it's very likely I've already started to shut it down. It's sort of like that expression, the plumber has the worst pipes, that you don't know how embarrassing it is to have a coral store and have people coming and seeing this display that 100% just is not an accurate reflection of your skill set that, we really pride ourselves on as a business. But we get so busy doing everything else that this just constantly gets put on the back burner because it's not an emergency. It's not like, nothing's like imminently in danger. A lot of other things just end up taking up our time. So I wanted to shut this tank down quite a long time ago, but with everything else going on, I just haven't gotten around to it. But it's going to go through a complete reset. So it's going to get bleached, doing a full restart on it. But there's just, it sort of feels like there's like an infinite number of things wrong in here. And then it becomes one of those things where when you're going to shut a tank down, it becomes very, very hard to continue working on it, right? Because it's like, what's the point? I mean, I can deal with that problem, but I'm literally about to bleach it. So why bother? So this tank has definitely declined quite a bit recently just because I haven't put any work or effort into it or anything like that. This tank was one of the ones that kind of acted as a holding area for back when we had that system crash back in July. So a lot of these corals, that you see that are like browned out or have tissue recession and stuff like that are ones that, came out of a system crash and are just kind of recovering. And I actually am happy with their recovery. Honestly, a lot of the SPS had like completely browned out. No polyp extension. We're like right on the verge of death. And those actually have improved very, very, very well. I'm very happy with how they've based out and started to extend their polyps. And, I'm fine. Naturally, they would start growing on the rocks right when I need to remove them. Isn't that just my luck? My major beef with this system is actually the Mahanos. I have never dealt with Mahanos before. This is one of those tanks that was already running when I merged my business into this one. And it's actually the last one standing of the old tanks that were here before I came and brought all my, rimless tanks in. I never had dealt with Mahanos before until this tank. And wow, what a royal pain in the butt, Organudibranchs don't eat them. There's like no fish that eat them. Even if you use F-Aptasia on them, their populations just explode. And there's just like a million of them. And it's one of those things that's like, they grow like right up close to the base of the coral. They just constantly are stinging everything. And no matter how hard you try to get rid of them, they just keep coming back. They're just, over it. Aptasia, in my opinion, really is not a big deal. There are so many easy ways to get rid of Aptasia. That doesn't bother me, but the Mahanos, very frustrating. But I'm actually going to be redoing the stand. I'm also going to be repainting the rim on this. This tank is 16 years old, so it's just, it's survived quite a long time. It just needs a little polishing up. But it really needs to have at least 4 power heads on it. Right now, we're down to, I've got one MP60 on there, and I've got one MP40, but the MP40 isn't even strong enough to stick on a glass this thick. So we've got it's some fantastic redneck engineering going on with our little fishing wire sort of holding it on there. But 4 of those are going to be put on here to fix some of the flow issues going on. This tank also normally runs with at least 2 more of the AP9X Kessels. I had to snipe them off here recently to run one of my frag tanks, but eventually it'll get its 2 back and replaced, and then I'm planning on adding some reef bright strips. Because I've been planning on shutting it down, I've slowly been removing the fish over time, so it's got like all of 4 fish in here that they're the smartest ones that just would not go into the fish trap. So those guys will probably end up getting caught when I drain the system down to restart it. I've got this stupid, beautiful fish that has decided that we really, really, really need to have a big bald spot right in the middle of the tank and then like 2 to 4 inches of sand everywhere else. And every time I move it back, she just gets herself into a tizzy and moves it all back. And it's one of those things where the customers just really love her, so I'm probably not going to get rid of her, but she can be quite the frustrating fish to deal with on a daily basis. But I could go on and on about all the other things that are wrong. Vermidid snail, some cyano, diatom, dino, schmutz going on over there on the left side. The list goes on and on, but now is your chance to be as mean as you want, and I'm going to do my very best to not take it personally.